Okay guys, so today we're going to be talking about the craziness that's going on in the market this week. You've probably been hearing the term short squeeze, Reddit, WallStreetBet, these type of things being thrown around. So we're going to talk in depth about what's going on, how did this situation become, what's the setup here, and how are people profiting or trading off this situation. I'll then talk about if I've actually participated in this at all, and we'll then wrap up the video with my personal opinion on this kind of trading activity. So to start off with here, GameStop is obviously the front runner. This is the one that's been the most popular in the news and getting the most headlines. You can see yesterday alone it was up 135%. It actually was up close to $500 in aftermarket trading. And now in the pre-market, you can see it's pulled back. It's down about 15% under the $300 price point. However, if we take a look at a 1 month chart on this, you can see that GameStop was actually under $20 within the month of January. So the fact that it's now up in the $200, $300, $400, $500 range is absolutely unheard of and really causing panic and pandemonium within the market. The next one that's been receiving a lot of headlines this week is AMC. So obviously this is a little bit smaller situation, a little bit less volatility, but this stock alone was up 300% yesterday, over $15. And this one as well is pulled back in the pre-market. It's down about 20%. But again, if we look at a 1 month on this, you can see that this was a $2 stock mid-January. So this is a 10x return in a few trading sessions, which is absolutely unheard of. So the question you're probably asking is, how did this come about? What caused this perfect setup for a short squeeze? And what is a short squeeze? How are those caused? So we'll jump over to the next page and take a look at exactly how this came about. So the GameStop short squeeze and the brilliant people at WallStreetBets that are behind it. So essentially what's happened here, you guys, is a group of investors have band together via WallStreetBets forum, which we'll look at in a second here, to organize a trade strategy to essentially attack companies, including GameStop, that have large short positions open on them or short interest. And in this situation, a lot of these short positions are held by institutional investors or hedge funds. So GameStop is obviously the most prominent or the most well talked about, but they're actually targeting a number of companies, including AMC, BlackBerry, Bed Bath & Beyond, and a number of others that have moved to a lesser extent. So if we take a look actually at the WallStreetBets page, this is an online forum hosted through Reddit, and you can see the membership is now up into the millions. So there's a very large following here, which allows them to make large strategic plays as a group rather than individuals. So traditionally, WallStreetBets is a place where people can go post big losses, gains, talk about investment strategy, and generally chit chat with other people that are interested in investing about different stocks and companies. But what's happened recently, and you can see in the pinned daily discussion here, is the interest has turned to companies that have large short positions. So these are companies that have been beaten up, the share price has been pushed down, and companies or institutions are essentially betting that the share price will continue to fall. So what WallStreetBets has done is their members have gone in and said, hey, we're going to try and take a stand here. We're going to try and profit by pushing these company values up. And you can see through the thread here, the number of chats and posts and comments is just through the roof right now. Really have never seen anything like that on this page. You can see 44,000 comments, 28,000. It's just insane the amount of activity that this site or this forum is getting now. So the next logical question then, and one that I've been getting asked a lot, is what exactly is a short squeeze? What are these guys and girls trying to do to these companies in order to profit? So if you actually take a look at the definition of a short squeeze, it's a rapid increase in the price of a stock owing primarily to technical factors. So that's a key here. It's a technical trade strategy. It really has nothing to do with the underlying company. So GameStop itself or AMC, nothing has materially changed with the company itself. This is purely a tactical and technical trade strategy. So what's happened is people have gone in, and it's publicly disclosed what the short count is or number of short positions on different companies are. And they've gone in and they've looked for companies that have large short interest. GameStop at one point had over 100% short interest, which made it a prime candidate for this type of a squeeze. So in order for a squeeze to happen, like we talked about, there needs to be short positions outstanding. So I think the next logical question here is, what is a short position and how do you go about opening one of those? Based on these short positions, we can then start to understand the short squeeze strategy as a whole. So short selling is essentially selling stock to open your position. So traditionally, when you're buying into a company, you buy shares, and that's how you initiate your trade. Short selling is the opposite. So you actually sell shares up front, hoping to buy those back later at a cheaper price. So you can see the first step here is traders research a company that they believe is overvalued. So if we take a look back at GameStop and we go back to a 6-month chart, you can see it was trading in the $12, $15, $16 range. And these hedge funds decided, you know what, I think that's a little rich for this company. I don't think it's necessarily worth that amount, and we're going to try and buy these shares back later at a cheaper point. So if we go into our example here, they identified GameStop as one of these companies. It say was trading at $15, and they said, hey, you know what, I'm going to sell shares at $15 in the hopes that I can get them back at a lower price. So the traders actually borrow stock from people that are currently long or hold a position. They then immediately sell those shares. So they sell to open their position and they take that money. So let's say they borrow 100 shares at $15 and they sell those. They now have $1,500. Now the goal here is for the share price to go down. So if it works as intended and the share price say drop to $10, they would then be able to buy those shares back. 100 shares times $10 would be $1,000. And then they would be able to return those shares to the person they initially borrowed from, thus keeping the difference. And that would be their profit. So they sold the shares for 15. They then bought them back for 10. They gave those shares back to the original owner, and they get to keep the delta, which in that example would be $5. So that's in essence how short selling works and how people profit from that type of situation. Now what's happened here is the crew at WallStreetBets has gone in and said, hey, we see what you guys are doing, and we're actually going to try and move this share price up so that you aren't able to make money on a short sale. So what they've done through these forums is they've gone in and they've identified companies like GameStop, and they basically said, hey, as a group, we're going to bid these companies' share price up. And as a result, the people who have opened short positions or borrowed shares cannot get them cheaper, and in turn have to close out or cover their shorts at whatever the market rate is. So again, if we go back to the graph here, the hedge funds bought in at say 15. They were hoping to drive the price down to 10 or $5 and be able to profit. What the people at WallStreetBets have done is gone in and actually bid this price all the way up into the $200, $300, $400 price range. So now all of a sudden these hedge funds have to cover those bets. They have to return those shares, but they have to pay whatever the market price is. So now instead of getting the shares for $5 or $10 each, they might be paying upwards of $350. That's essentially what a short squeeze is. And as this continues to accelerate, more and more people think, hey, you know what? I've got a short position. I better cover my ass here, because if I don't, I'm going to have to pay even higher price tomorrow to cover my short. So essentially, this creates panic and chaos and drives the price up at an exponential rate, which is exactly what you saw here with GameStop and now AMC with the 300% move in a single day. So that's essentially what happens here. Now, as you can imagine, this frenzy has actually sparked the attention and interest of high level of government. So you can see here Biden himself has now been looped in, because the hedge funds that had set up these short trades are panicking and they're losing massive amounts of money, hundreds of millions and billions of dollars a day in these situations. Now, traditionally, the stock market has been set up and controlled by market makers and hedge funds, and they've had a pretty good system here. So with the entrance of retail investors and a lot of these millennial traders who have now band together, they've been blindsided by this type of activity and they don't have an answer for it. So now they've started to panic and go out and try and stop this through regulation, halting the trading of stocks. For example, AMC was halted, I think, 8 or 9 times yesterday while they scrambled to get together a plan. The other thing that was interesting is they actually went so far as to close down the Reddit forum itself. So WallStreetBets actually went dark last night. It was shut down. They were claiming a number of different violations on company policy. But essentially what this was the hedge funds had gone to them and said, hey, you know what, we're going to pull away advertising dollars, make your life difficult if you guys continue to put short squeezes on our position and drive this type of behavior through your forum. Now, what's ironic about this entire situation is most of these retail investors and traders that are active on WallStreetBets are actually trading through the app Robinhood. And if you're familiar with the Robinhood story itself, the whole premise is taking from the rich and giving to the poor, which is exactly what's happened here. These hedge funds set out to make massive amounts of money by targeting companies and essentially beating up their share price lower and lower and lower. And this group of WallStreetBets activists has gone in and said, hey, that plan's not going to work. We're going to throw a wrench in it, and we're actually going to take that profit for ourselves. That's what's so fundamentally different about this situation and something that's not been seen, at least to this scale, in previous years. Now, for the last part of the video, I did want to share with you my personal trades. So if we jump over to my account here, you can see that I did partake in the AMC run yesterday. I did not dabble at all with GameStop, but in terms of AMC, I saw a pullback yesterday morning. They ran up to about $20, pulled back to about $10. So I actually took out a $5 or $5 strike call option. I purchased this at 10:02 in the morning and I paid $5 per contract. So one contract was essentially $500. I was then able to flip this only 16 minutes later. So at 10:18, I sold for $10 or $1,000. So essentially I doubled my money in 16 minutes, which shows you exactly how much money can be made or lost with these type of short squeeze scenarios. Now, to close off the video, I did want to disclose my overarching thoughts around this type of trading. If you're going to get involved with this type of trade activity, you need to understand that this is not investing. This is essentially gambling. These companies, as we talked about, had no fundamental change. This is a purely technical trade that can go up or down in a moment's notice. I want to be very clear that this is gambling, you guys, and you can get into trouble very, very quickly with these type of situations. So if you do wish to partake, obviously that's up to you, but I would highly recommend that you practice proper position sizing and you're only putting in money that you're willing to lose. That's it for today's video, you guys. I hope this helps shed some light on the situation and all the news that's coming out this week in regards to short selling. As always, please make sure that you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great rest of your day.